through Facebook Live. So we are recording right now. And thank you so much to those of you who were able to complete the poll that we posted. All right, I am going to get started. We're just a few minutes after the top of the hour. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kelly Brezovec. I'm Senior Manager of Account Services at EBCE. Today, we'll be discussing the transition of residential electric accounts to 100% renewable energy in the cities of Berkeley and San Leandro. I'll begin by providing some basic background information about East Bay Community Energy, and then summarize the options available to customers within these two cities. Last, we'll walk through the steps that customers can take to choose which electricity option they prefer. We'll close with questions from those tuning in and answer in the order received. Just also, I have some colleagues on the line with me today, and we can also answer some questions in real time. So please feel free to type those questions into the Q&A section that you see. It's usually located at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a little Q&A button, and you can type your question right in there and get an answer, an answer that's typed out. Of course, you may also want to hold on to those till the end, since we'll be covering quite a bit of material, and you may find that your question is answered during the presentation. All right, moving on. So what is East Bay Community Energy? EBCE is the local power provider for residential and commercial electricity customers in Alameda County, all of the cities, minus the city of Alameda, and the city of Tracy in neighboring San Joaquin County. Our mission is to provide more renewable energy at lower rates and to reinvest those revenues back into our communities, which helps to create local jobs, allows us to administer some customer programs, and helps to catalyze sustainable development. Technically, EBCE is a joint powers authority, a local government agency that's created by the cities and counties it serves. In this way, EBCE is similar to a school district, only instead of providing public education, we provide a public option for energy administered at the local level. Today, we'll talk about those options we provide in more detail. First, it's important to note that all EBCE customers remain PG&E customers for everything except the source of the energy. So EBCE procures more renewable energy from natural resources like wind and solar, which is then delivered through PG&E's lines and wires to customers. These two services, power generation and power delivery, are billed separately on your PG&E bill, and we'll get to take a look at a bill in a few minutes. In short, PG&E continues to handle billing services and maintain the grid, while EBCE provides customers with more renewable energy at lower rates. Next, let's look at what those choices are. So there are currently two options available for EBCE customers. These include Bright Choice, which is an option that offers more renewable energy at 1% lower rates than PG&E's standard service. And two, Renewable 100. This is an option that offers 100% renewable energy from California-based wind and solar at a premium of 1 penny per kilowatt hour above PG&E's standard rates. That's about $5 to $7 per month for a typical home in East Bay. In Berkeley and San Leandro, residential customers will automatically transition to Renewable 100 unless or until they choose another option. The city councils of Berkeley and San Leandro have voted to move customers onto this Renewable 100 option as a means of helping to reduce their city's overall greenhouse gas emissions. Customers that participate in discount programs such as CARE, FERA, or Medical Baseline will default and remain onto Bright Choice unless they choose Renewable 100. As always, EBCE customers may also choose to return to PG&E's energy supply if they prefer that option. So what is a default service? So by state law, that's AB 117, EBCE is the default power supplier for customers within our service area. Again, that's Alameda County, cities of Alameda County, City of Tracy, and in San Joaquin County. So everyone that receives service from EBCE begins on their default service. This is the plan that their local city council selected for their jurisdiction. EBCE has been the default provider of electric generation service to residential, commercial, and municipal accounts in Berkeley and San Leandro since 2018, with EBCE's Bright Choice service as the default. In 2022, we're going to start to see some changes. Residential electricity customers in Berkeley and San Leandro will now start service on EBCE's Renewable 100 or transition if they're an existing customer. So this chart, you can see our standard customers, and then also if a customer is participating in any of these discount programs, CARE, FERA, medical baseline. If you're not sure if you're participating in any of these programs, you should be able to see that on your PG&E bill, or you're welcome to call EBCE or PG&E to find out for sure. So other cities have also made changes this year. City councils of Albany, Hayward, Pleasanton, and Dublin transitioned their communities to Renewable 100 in January of this year. For Albany, Hayward, and Pleasanton, it was all customers, so residential and commercial. Whereas in Dublin, it was just a residential transition, like we're seeing in Berkeley and San Leandro in March. So Berkeley and San Leandro are going to follow in March with the transition to Renewable 100. And then their commercial or businesses in Berkeley and San Leandro will transition to Renewable 100 in October of this year. There are two exceptions to customers to the transitions that we just reviewed. First is that residential customers on discount programs like CARE or FERA and or medical baseline will remain on Bright Choice. New customers will be enrolled on Bright Choice. Any customer any customer that is taking action by February 22nd. So we'll talk about what taking action means. But if a customer, let's say you're on this call today and you would prefer to remain on Bright Choice service, I'll walk you through how you can do that, and then you'll avoid that automatic enrollment. Anybody that takes action after February 22nd may see one or two bills on Renewable 100 prior to then going back to Bright Choice service. So how do you tell what service you're on today? So you can typically find information about the EBCE charges on your PG&E bill on page 3. This is the East Bay Community Energy Electric Generations charges page. And here the EBCE service can be found under the bill period amount. On the left, we see a Bright Choice bill. You see the rate schedule ETOUC. That's for customers that are on a time of use rate. That matches the rate schedule for PG&E delivery. And then Bright Choice is the EBCE service plan. You can also see this customer's 1% Bright Choice discount of 60 cents in the line item below. While this discount may not seem much month to month, this 1% discount can add up. Collectively, EBCE's customers have saved about $29 million since EBCE launched service in 2018. For our Renewable 100 customer, we see the bill on the right that displays Renewable 100 next to the rate schedule. And also there's an additional line item that's unique to Renewable 100 customers that shows that this customer spent an additional $3.36 for Renewable 100, a penny per kilowatt hour of electricity for that month. So if you are ever unsure about what service you're on today, or like I said earlier, you wanted to check to see if you were receiving a discount for CARE or FERA or medical baseline, you're always welcome to give us a call. Our number is 833-699-3223. Our team is available from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and happy to help you verify that service or make a service selection over the phone. So let's say that you know that you'd like to choose a different service plan. You can make that choice also from our website. So you can start from your city's special site, such as ebce.org/San-Leandro or Berkeley, or just from ebce.org where you will select residents and then change your service. Once you're on that Change My Plan webpage, you'll see a note about what you'll need to have available to make changes online. First is your PG&E account number, which you can find at the top of your PG&E energy statement. You may get this in the mail, or you may get this by email or by logging into pge.com. We'll just need the first 10 digits of that account number. So here, everything before the -1. You can ignore anything after the dash. Also, make sure that you know the name on the account, first and last, and also the zip code where you receive service. That's how we'll verify that the account is yours. The Change My Plan page allows you to select your choice, which then takes you to a web form. That's where you'll need that information that we just discussed. For now, I'll highlight this Keep Me Here option. If you're on Bright Choice today and want to stay there, you can indicate that using this Remain on Bright Choice form. You can use this form up until February 22nd to stay on Bright Choice. After that, please use the Lower My Bill or Choose Bright Choice form to return back to Bright Choice. So maybe this is the first time you've heard about it, or maybe you're joining because you've received a notification. So please continue to be on the lookout for notifications that will inform you about this transition. We've started to send them out already this month. You might also find out information about this transition via city newsletters or social media posts or ads or updates from the Chamber of Commerce. You can also read all about it on our website with this Read More About the Transition, about how many cities and community members are choosing Renewable 100. EBCE will be sending out one notice in February and another one in March. And if you have an email address on file, you'll also see those notices via email. If you think you have an email address on file and you haven't received anything yet, I do recommend that you log into pge.com and update the email address you have on file. PG&E shares that information with us. And so we want to be able to send you information about these sorts of changes. PG&E also wants to send you information too about, this fall when we have PSPS events. So I do recommend that you make sure that that email address is kept up to date. So just some important dates to note. We've gone over this. So February 22nd, I recommend that you make any changes that you'd like to make to your service plan by then, if you'd like to avoid a transition to Renewable 100. March, that's when we'll see those first switch dates go to those first switches to Renewable 100. So that's concurrent with your meter read. So if you know that you usually get your bill in, say, the middle of the month, that's when you start a new bill cycle, and that's when you'll start on Renewable 100. And then you'll receive that new bill with either your Renewable 100, your new service, or you continued on Bright Choice. You'll see that in April of 2022. So just a couple of common questions about switching. So can I choose Bright Choice and then later try Renewable 100? Or what if I miss the deadline to switch to Bright Choice? So yes, you can always switch between Renewable 100 and Bright Choice. Just note that it does take up to 2 billing cycles to actually see that change on your bill. So there really isn't a deadline to switch to Bright Choice. There's just a potential delay, and you might see a month or two on Renewable 100. And then the other question we receive a lot is, how much more will I pay on Renewable 100? That's a great question. Typically, residential customers will pay I would say $3 to $7 more per month. You saw in the example earlier that that customer had used 336 kilowatt hours that month. That can be pretty typical. Let's call it 5 to 7. So they're estimating a little bit high. We don't want any surprises for you for our Renewable 100 service. So if you use more energy, let's say you have a swimming pool and you're using air conditioning during the summer, that's going to be on the higher side. And if you're in a smaller home or apartment, you're going to be on the lower side of that. If you do want an estimate for your home, please give us a call or send us an email. I would ask that you don't enter in any specific information about your account in the Q&A or the chat function, but do use these tools that I'm giving you here, the 800-699-3223 or the customer-support@ebce.org. All right. On behalf of EBCE, thank you so much for participating in this webinar. Now I'll open to questions, and we can also go over any questions that the team has answered while I've been talking.
I don't see any questions at the moment, Kelly. It's been relatively quiet on chat and Q&A.
Okay. I did see one that my voice was going out in and out a little bit. I'm sorry I didn't notice that earlier. I hope that between what you were able to hear and the slides, you got the material. I'm really sorry about that. I'll have to check my headphones before we do another one of these. Yeah, any questions from anyone on the line? I see we do have quite a few attendees. Happy to go over any of this material again. Great, so we did get a question. Did you already answer this one?
I have not. This is a new question about PG&E rates. You want to take that one?
Sure, yeah, I'll take that one. So yeah, thanks for asking. We do know that PG&E is going to raise their rates. They did a rate change in January, and they are going to be raising their rates again in March. And yes, our both Bright Choice and Renewable 100, those rates are pegged to PG&E's rates. So as PG&E rates change, so do ours. However, the delivery charges, when those rates change, we don't have an effect on that portion, nor on the gas part of your bill, which has been pretty substantial for a lot of folks. We have another question asking, if PG&E ever completes undergrounding of utilities in my area, will Renewable 100 and Bright Choice still be available? I see my colleague is typing out an answer for that, so I'll let him take that. And go over to, there was another question. I'm just going to go through some of the questions that have already been answered, just so everyone can hear them. So one of the questions was, did I understand that Renewable 100 will cost more than Bright Choice? That's a great question. Yes, Bright Choice costs 1% less than PG&E, and Renewable 100 costs 1 cent per kilowatt hour more than PG&E. So yes, Renewable 100 does cost more than Bright Choice. All right. I have another question here. Can you explain why Bright Choice is 1% cheaper? Why should we go 100%? So I'll take the second half of why should we go 100%. I think that's why should we go with Renewable 100 or with the 100% renewable service. It's a great question. It depends on if you feel like it's very important to support the development of new renewable energy within California and the greater Western United States. It's you don't have to. You're welcome to choose the Bright Choice service, which is a little bit cheaper. It is cheaper. It's 1% below PG&E's rates, largely because of the power mix that we've been able to source in order to help save our customers money. You know, that nearly $30 million that I quoted you earlier was in large part because of because of that Bright Choice service. So that's, you know, the savings that we're able to provide through our power procurement strategies. All right. And I'm going to go back and answer live the question about undergrounding of utilities, which is if PG&E ever completes the undergrounding of utilities in my area, fingers crossed for all of us, will Renewable 100 and Bright Choice still be available? And Dan did, my colleague Dan did a great job answering this. So the EBCE options that we're providing are not impacted by PG&E making updates to the local distribution network, where the distribution network is part of, that's just the service that PG&E provides. That's that transmission and distribution or delivery. That's sort of a separate part of your energy service than generation, which is the options that we provide. Okay, we've got a couple of NEM questions here, and I think those are very specific to the user. And so I will direct you all of the NEM questions to ebce.org/NEM, where you'll be able to find a video that's somewhat similar to this one, where we answered a lot of questions live. You can also give our call center a call. They have a very quick, very short wait period. But it does seem like maybe we should do another NEM presentation here soon, since we do have a couple folks asking NEM questions.
There are a couple of questions about why Renewable 100 is more expensive. We don't have anyone from the procurement team on the call right now. I think they could provide a better answer. I think I can provide maybe a short sort of conceptual answer for that, because I'm sure we're all reading about price drops in the cost of solar and wind. They're becoming very affordable. EBCE has signed long-term contracts for solar and wind at low rates. We built the wind farm that you see behind Kelly and Gabrielle. They're not really there. It's just a backdrop, but it is our wind farm out in Livermore, which is great. But there is this ongoing challenge of providing renewable energy 24/7 when a lot of the contracts that we've signed are from these intermittent resources. We're also building battery storage facilities. We're a new agency, so we just started building these projects. We have a long list of projects that are under development. We have a web page that lists each project we've contracted for, its expected online date, size, location, all of that. You can find at ebce.org/power-projects. But that's sort of the background to say that while that power is not expensive per kilowatt hour, when it does get expensive is keeping it on 24/7 and matching your power load. You may know or may not know that we're matching Renewable 100 purchases on an annual basis, not on a minute-to-minute basis. So if the wind is not blowing, if the sun is not shining, your power stays on. There's no change in reliability. We have other power plants that are scheduled to deliver at the hours when customers are using electricity, and we're matching that. We are, for customers on Renewable 100, making sure that we're procuring enough energy over the course of the year that matches what you're buying by resource type. So, we're making sure that we're not overselling what's coming out of that wind farm that you see or the solar farm that we've built relative to customers who are being promised that they're getting California wind and solar. And we're doing the same for customers on Bright Choice. It's just the more customers that we have on Renewable 100, which is now around 150,000, those balancing activities become a little bit more expensive, and it's more because of serving the customers on Renewable 100 than customers on Bright Choice who we're not making that promise to. We can sort of buy other things in the market that are readily available. So that's I guess, probably as much information as I should provide as someone who's not on the procurement team, but you're welcome to engage with us. We're a small and open organization, and if you contact us, we can put you in touch with someone from the procurement team to provide a more sophisticated answer, or maybe have a webinar just on that topic, because it is one we get a lot of questions about. I'm personally hopeful that the premium for Renewable 100 might be able to come down as we build out more projects. We get longer price stability, we have more storage online. These prices are not ones that are, set into perpetuity. They're reviewed regularly. And since we launched in our service in 2018, we've been able to maintain at least a 1% discount for Bright Choice customers and no more than a 1 cent per kilowatt hour premium for Renewable 100. So it's been very steady and sort of along our forecast so far.
Great, thanks, Dan. We just received another question, and that is, what rate is your customer base growing? Our customer base really depends on how Alameda County and the city of Tracy grows. So yes, there is growth. We see new housing and businesses, and so our growth is sort of tied to the growth of the county and the city of Tracy overall. Another way that EBCE has grown is in 2018, when we started service, the cities of Tracy and Newark and Pleasanton did not join our service. And then they joined our service in April of 2021. So that was growth for EBCE. And I would encourage you, at the board meeting just earlier this week on the 16th, there was some discussion of other communities outside of Alameda County potentially joining our service.
And just to give people a sense of scale, we serve about 635,000 accounts. It's about 1.5 million people in our service area. We've got another question about procurement here. What are the requirements for procuring energy? Again, I'll provide a very superficial answer to this question, but we are subject to the state renewable portfolio standard, for example. So we need to buy at least as much renewable energy as the state requires, as do PG&E and other load serving entities in the state. We have a much more ambitious goal of being completely carbon-free for all customers by 2030, and the state mandate is 2045. So we're moving more quickly than PG&E. We have more renewable energy in our mix and are moving more quickly to that goal. We have other requirements around what's called resource adequacy, which ensures that we have enough generating capacity available to meet all of our customers' needs. We have the same resource adequacy requirements that PG&E does, so our reliability is the same. Your reliability is the same whether you're on EBCE service or not. And you call PG&E if you have an outage. If any service disruption comes up, they're the ones managing the poles and wires. So you'll call them, you pay them the same amount for poles and wire service, whether you're on EBCE service or not. So, and then the other interesting thing I think about procurement is that we're very open and transparent about our procurement process, more so than PG&E. For PG&E, the cost of procuring energy is a pass-through. They don't make profit. I feel like there's more of an onus on us to beat PG&E's rates and be very cost conscious and long-term focused in our procurement strategy so that we can make sure that we are doing the best deal for our customers. We're not for profit, and we're doing everything we can to save money for our customers. And I think we've proven to be fiscally conservative in those decisions and procuring energy. Our team is very savvy and negotiates good rates, but also with an eye to making sure that the developers are paying their customers well, there's prevailing wage requirements, those sorts of things. So I guess maybe that was a longer answer than I thought, but happy if anyone has a follow-up question about procurement, happy to share. But generally, if you go to the website ebce.org/power-projects, it lists all of the contracts we've signed. And we have a new, just this week, we issued a new RFO, a new request for offers. So we're continuously going out into the market and looking for more deals as we grow out our portfolio. And I guess on that front, there's a question here about, do you buy energy from private individuals, corporations, nonprofit businesses, etc.? So most of what we're talking about, most of the energy that EBCE procures is from utility scale projects, that are built around the state. Some in our service area, like the wind farm you see a photo of, excuse me, some farther afield, like in sort of southeast of here, where there's a good solar resource and access to transmission lines. Those are typically developed by private companies because they can take advantage of the federal tax credit. A nonprofit has no tax appetite. And so unfortunately, they're at a competitive disadvantage when it comes to building projects. So just sort of on the large level, I would say the market is more dominated by for-profit corporations, but we do also, that's not a requirement. It's just, that's just sort of how the market is. And then in terms of net metering, we're buying power, the excess power that's generated from solar systems within our service area. If you have solar on your roof, if there's solar on the roof of a nonprofit, if there's solar on the roof of a home, or, a house of worship or a municipal building or whatever, we're buying the excess generation off of there. So, on the sort of smaller, more localized sense, we're buying from all types of folks.
All right, if there are no more questions, we can close. Going once, going twice. Thank you so much for attending this webinar, and we hope that you were able to learn some more about EBCE and what we do for you and your communities, and also make an informed choice about your energy service. Thanks so much.